Welcome to the JTV Caribbean News. I'm Sean Rose. The Anguilla government is becoming financially strapped due to the continuing delay of the approval of the 2016 budget by the UK government. Anguilla has resorted to a provisional warrant in order to have some available money to spend on public services. The 2016 budget of $225,335,227 is bolstered by a number of new and increased taxes, fees, and existing levies. A number of the measures were passed in the Anguilla House of Assembly towards the end of December 2015. Among them were certain provisions intended to assist in financing the resolution of the commercial banking sector, still under the conservatorship of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank since August 2013. The British government and the governor have also declined to approve two banking acts, while matters relating to the banking resolution remain under active discussion. Chief Minister and the Minister of Finance, Victor Banks, says he is frustrated by the British government's delay and acknowledged that his government had begun preparations to take over the local commercial banking sector to resolve the situation. However, Anguilla's governor, Christina Scott, has not given her assent to the two banking acts or the Appropriation Act, stating that they are closely related. She said the proposals to resolve the current banking difficulties require the government of Anguilla to borrow more money from the Caribbean Development Bank. Governor Scott said discussions continue between the government of Anguilla and the UK government on a number of areas of important detail likely to affect Anguilla for at least a generation. While consumers in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States celebrate and reap the benefits of plummeting oil prices on the world market, Trinidad and Tobago's economy is taking a hit. A St. Lucia petroleum dealer says dealers and consumers are the big winners at this time, but warns that the situation in Trinidad and Tobago must be monitored as it could affect neighboring islands. More in this report from HTS News Force.
Across the OECS, consumers are paying some of the lowest prices ever at the pumps. Dominicans are currently paying $9.83 per gallon of gas, and locally a gallon of petrol costs $10.23.
The impact for us in St. Lucia is that, well, we expect all the byproducts from crude to come down, and that is gasoline, diesel, LPG, and the likes. So we are already beginning to see the effects of reductions in the prices of fuel in the local economy. It will be the same for other countries which are dependent on importation of oil. It's good news for petroleum dealers in that their margins are fixed, and so it means that even if prices are coming down, that means that they're paying less now to buy a gallon of gas to sell. Their margins are going up, and are going up pretty significantly. So it's very good news for dealers now that prices are coming down. It means that their markups are going up significantly, and that has, I think, to me, offers opportunity to do things in the market.
The news is not so good for Trinidad and Tobago. For the last 2 decades, the oil-producing republic has enjoyed a booming economy. The collapse of global oil prices has resulted in the Dr. Keith Rowley-led administration cutting spending by 7% and using $1.5 billion from a stabilization fund for the next few years. Its 1.3 million nationals have also been warned that they will have to make do with less. Jean-Marie says even as small islands celebrate dropping oil prices, they must remember that what affects Trinidad could possibly affect them.
It will have a knock-on effect for neighboring Caribbean islands, who depend largely on Trinidad for some of their imports, regional trade. And if you see a decline in the Trinidadian market economy, then it will impact negatively, I think, on the other Caribbean islands. But we will have to see the extent to which it will affect us negatively. In suppose of regional travel, Trinidadians are known to perhaps the most traveled Caribbean people, English-speaking Caribbean people, and that is going to affect it. We'll see what impact it has on our jazz festival.
On Wednesday, U.S. oil prices fell to below $27 for the first time since 2003. While the oil price slump should be good news for small islands, some experts say it could hurt economic recovery if it forces Venezuela to review its Petrocaribbean arrangements. With no rebound in oil prices in sight, consumers may continue to reap the benefits, but it will be important to keep a keen eye on developments with oil-producing trading partners.
The OECS has received a World Bank grant to develop a harmonized framework for tourism market intelligence. On December 23rd, the OECS Commission signed a grant agreement with the World Bank to execute a project to develop a harmonized framework for collecting and reporting tourism market intelligence data in the OECS. Dr. Lorraine Nichols is representative for the OECS Commission Tourism Desk.
This harmonized framework, developed in partnership between the OECS Commission and the World Bank, will essentially allow participating countries to collect, to organize, to report, and to use the statistical data necessary for tourism market intelligence and to ultimately enhance the quality of decision-making in this vital tourism sector in the OECS. Tourism, as we know, is by any measure the lead economic sector in the OECS, accounting for almost half of the region's GDP and labor force, arguably. Given this heavy reliance on tourism for our economic prosperity in the OECS, it is of paramount importance that the industry is effectively developed and managed to ensure its competitiveness and its sustainability as well. And so the need for accurate, timely, and reliable information on the tourism sector cannot be overemphasized in light of this ever-changing dynamic tourism industry. Empirically derived data can therefore play a pivotal role in the OECS in empowering tourism policymakers to make more informed decisions for tourism planning, policymaking, and marketing.
The project has commenced in January 2016 and would end in December 2017. And finally, in this week's Caribbean News segment, a 61-year-old man has become the 6th person in Trinidad and Tobago to die after contracting swine flu. In addition to the 6 confirmed deaths, health officials say there are 68 laboratory reports of the virus in the Twin Island Republic. Trinidad's Ministry of Health has reminded citizens that influenza can cause severe illness in some people, including the elderly, infants, young children, and pregnant women, as well as those with chronic medical conditions such as heart, lung, kidney disease, hypertension, and diabetes. The ministry said vaccination is especially important for people at higher risk of serious complications of influenza and for people who live with or care for high-risk individuals. Trinidad's acting chief medical officer, Dr. Clive Tilloch-Harry, said there are approximately 46,000 doses of the H1N1 vaccine available in Trinidad and Tobago. For the JTV Caribbean News, I am Sean Rose.
And coming up next on JTV News. New Junior Tourism Minister Archibald Christian tells JTV News what BVI Direct means for the hotel industry. Editor at Travel and Leisure New York advises tourism stakeholders to pay attention to global trends and aim for high standards in customer service to remain competitive. And BVI Red Cross observes 60 years of service in the BVI, launches Men's Health Fair as part of the annual prostate cancer screening.